The story of India is a vast and sprawling epic, a tale told through grand monuments, ancient texts, and the whispers of time. But there is another, more intimate history, one you can hold in the palm of your hand. This is the history told by coins. These small metallic objects are not just pieces of money. They are miniature chronicles, time capsules that have survived centuries of change. They carry the faces of forgotten kings, the symbols of powerful empires, and the artistic dreams of entire civilizations. Following the journey of Indian coins is like walking through the corridors of history itself, each piece a doorway to a different era, a different ruler, and a different way of life. They are tangible links to our past, connecting us directly to the people who minted, spent, and saved them long ago. Why does the world find these little metal discs so fascinating? The appeal lies in their incredible diversity and the sheer depth of the stories they tell. Indian coinage is one of the oldest in the world, stretching back over 2.5 millennia. This long history has seen countless kingdoms rise and fall, each leaving its unique mark on the currency of the land. From the simple, abstract symbols punched onto silver slivers in ancient times to the intricate portraits of powerful emperors, Indian coins offer an unparalleled visual journey. They are witnesses to invasions, trade, religious shifts, and artistic revolutions. For historians, archaeologists, and collectors, they are invaluable sources of information, often revealing details that written records have missed. Imagine holding a coin that was once used by a merchant on the Silk Road, or a soldier in the army of a great Mughal emperor. Each scratch, each worn-out detail, is a testament to its journey through countless hands and historical events. These coins were part of daily life. They were used to buy food, pay taxes, and fund armies. They represent the economic pulse of their time, showing us what materials were valued and how trade flowed across the subcontinent and beyond. The study of these coins, known as numismatics, is not just a hobby for a dedicated few. It is a vital tool for understanding the economic, political, and cultural fabric of one of the world's most complex and enduring civilizations. This essay will take you on a journey through the fascinating world of Indian coinage. We will travel back to the very beginning, to the earliest coins that circulated in the bustling marketplaces of ancient India. We will witness the evolution of their design and function as we move through the great empires, from the Mauryas to the Guptas, the Mughals, and the British. We will explore the materials they were made from and uncover the stories behind some of the rarest and most unusual coins ever minted. By the end, you will see that these small, often overlooked objects are in fact some of the most compelling storytellers of India's magnificent past, their legacy continuing to captivate people around the globe. Our journey begins around the 6th century BCE, a time of great change and intellectual ferment in India. This was the era of the Mahajanapadas, or Great Kingdoms, which flourished across the northern plains. As trade and cities grew, the old system of barter, exchanging goods for other goods, became cumbersome and inefficient. A more standardized medium of exchange was needed, and thus the first Indian coins were born. These were not the round, uniform coins we know today. Instead, they were irregularly shaped pieces of silver, carefully cut to a specific weight. Their most distinctive feature was the way they were marked, using punches bearing various symbols, earning them the name punch-marked coins. These early coins, often called kashapanas, were quite revolutionary for their time. Instead of a single design, they were stamped with multiple symbols, typically between 1 and 5. These symbols were not random. They represented animals, plants, geometric shapes, and celestial bodies like the sun and moon. Historians believe that these symbols were the marks of local authorities or merchant guilds, guaranteeing the coin's weight and purity. You might find a coin with a bull, a fish, a tree in a railing, and a 6-armed symbol all on one small surface. Each combination of marks could signify a different region or issuing authority. creating a complex and fascinating system of monetary identification across the various kingdoms. The process of making these coins was straightforward, yet effective. Silver was first melted and formed into bars or flat sheets. These were then cut into smaller pieces of a predetermined weight standard. Each piece was then placed on an anvil and struck with one or more punches, each engraved with a specific symbol. This method explains their irregular shapes. The focus was on the correct weight, not on a perfectly circular form. The most common symbols found on these coins include the sun symbol, which is often associated with imperial authority, and the Sadara Chakra, a six-armed symbol that might represent a wheel or a combination of religious motifs. These symbols offer a glimpse into the beliefs and iconography of ancient Indian society. The punch-marked coins remained the dominant form of currency in India for several centuries, circulating widely from Gandhara in the northwest to Magadha in the east. Their discovery in large hoards across the subcontinent provides crucial evidence of the extensive trade networks that connected the different Mahajanapadas. They represent the first step in a long and complex monetary history, a move from a barter economy to a sophisticated system of currency. These simple, oddly shaped pieces of silver are the true ancestors of every rupee and paisa that followed, marking the beginning of India's long and rich numismatic journey, a journey that would see many more innovations and artistic heights in the centuries to come. With the rise of the Mauryan Empire in the 4th century BCE, India saw its first great imperial consolidation, and this had a profound impact on its coinage. While the punch-marked system continued, it became more standardized under a powerful central authority. The Mauryan coins, still made of silver, were more uniform in their weight and featured a consistent set of 5 symbols. Among these, the sun and the 6-armed symbol became almost universal, suggesting they were imperial marks of the Mauryan dynasty. The other 3 symbols varied, possibly indicating different mints or production periods within the vast empire. This standardization was a crucial step in creating a unified economic zone, facilitating trade and tax collection across their extensive territories. A major shift in Indian coinage occurred with the arrival of the Indo-Greeks in the 2nd century BCE. Following the campaigns of Alexander the Great, Greek rulers established kingdoms in the northwestern part of the subcontinent. They brought with them the Hellenistic tradition of minting, which was dramatically different from the Indian punch-marked system. Their coins were round, die-struck, and most importantly, featured realistic and often beautiful portraits of the ruling kings on one side, the obverse, and Greek deities or other symbols on the other, the reverse. This introduction of portraiture was a revolutionary concept in India, forever changing the face of its currency. Names of kings and their titles were also inscribed, usually in Greek script. This fusion of cultures became even more pronounced under the Kushan Empire, which rose to power in the 1st century CE. The Kushans, who controlled a vast territory that included parts of Central Asia, Afghanistan, and northern India, created a truly remarkable and eclectic coinage. Their gold and copper coins are a testament to their cosmopolitan empire, which stood at the crossroads of major trade routes. The great Kushan king Kanishka I, for example, issued coins that not only featured his own standing portrait, but also depicted a wide array of deities on the reverse. These included gods and goddesses from Greek, Iranian, and Indian traditions, such as Helios, Mithra, Buddha, and Shiva, reflecting the diverse religious landscape of his empire. The Kushan coins were also significant for their use of different languages and scripts. Often, the king's name and titles would be written in the Bactrian language using Greek script. The Kushans were among the first to depict the Buddha in human form on their coins, a hugely significant development in Buddhist art and iconography. These coins were not just for trade, they were powerful tools of propaganda, broadcasting the king's power and his patronage of various faiths to a multicultural population. The legacy of the Indo-Greeks and Kushans was profound. They established the die-striking technique and the tradition of inscribing coins with portraits and titles, setting the stage for the numismatic achievements of the subsequent Indian empires. The Gupta Empire, which flourished from the 4th to the 6th century CE, is often hailed as the Golden Age of India, a period of extraordinary achievements in science, art, and literature. This cultural renaissance is magnificently reflected in their coinage, especially their gold coins, known as dinaras. The Gupta rulers took the coin-making traditions they inherited and elevated them to an unprecedented level of artistic excellence. Their coins are celebrated not just for their purity of gold, but for their exquisite craftsmanship and symbolic depth. They moved beyond the somewhat stiff portraits of the Kushans to create dynamic and elegant representations of their emperors, showcasing a uniquely Indian aesthetic. The Gupta kings used their coins as a canvas to project an idealized image of themselves as powerful, righteous, and accomplished rulers. Instead of simple portraits, we see the kings in a variety of active poses. Samudragupta, one of the empire's greatest conquerors, is depicted on his coins as a mighty archer, a battle-axe-wielding warrior, and even as a musician playing the veena, a stringed instrument. These diverse portrayals were meant to communicate the different facets of his kingship, his military prowess, his patronage of the arts, and his cultured personality. The reverse of these coins typically featured the goddess Lakshmi, seated on a lotus, symbolizing the king's wealth and divine favor. The level of detail and artistic quality on Gupta coins is truly remarkable. The figures are rendered with a sense of grace and movement, and the inscriptions, written in the beautiful Brahmi script, are often composed as poetic verses, or kavyas, praising the king's virtues and victories. For example, a coin of Chandragupta II shows him as a lion slayer, the Simha Vikrama type, with the king heroically defeating a lion, a metaphor for his power and courage. The reverse of these coins often carries Sanskrit legends like Sri Vikrama, one of the king's titles. This combination of sophisticated imagery and poetic language made each coin a masterpiece of miniature art and imperial propaganda. The decline of the Gupta Empire led to a period of political fragmentation, and with it, a general decline in the artistic quality of coinage in many parts of India. However, the legacy of the Gupta dinaras endured. They set a new standard for numismatic art that would influence Indian coin designs for centuries to come. Their emphasis on elegant imagery, symbolic representation, and poetic inscriptions created a powerful template for what a royal coin could be. For collectors and historians, Gupta coins are among the most sought-after and admired of all Indian series, representing a perfect synthesis of power, piety, and artistic genius that truly defined India's golden age. The story of Indian coinage is not just about designs and dynasties. It is also a story of the materials used to make them. The choice of metal for a coin was never arbitrary. It was determined by its intrinsic value, availability, and the economic needs of the time. The very earliest coins, the punch-marked issues, were predominantly made of silver. Silver was a precious metal, trusted for its value, and its use for high-value transactions helped facilitate long-distance trade. At the same time, smaller transactions were likely handled using copper coins, which were more suitable for everyday purchases in local markets, though fewer of these have survived the ravages of time. The real game-changer in the metallurgy of Indian coins was the introduction and widespread use of gold. While some earlier kingdoms may have minted gold coins, it was the Kushan Empire that established gold as a primary metal for high-value currency. They minted a large number of beautiful gold dinars, a practice that was then perfected during the Gupta period. The Gupta gold dinaras are legendary for their purity and artistic beauty, reflecting the immense wealth and prosperity of the empire. Gold was the metal of emperors, symbolizing power, divinity, and imperial prestige. The scarcity or abundance of gold coins from a particular period can tell historians a lot about the economic health of a kingdom and its access to gold sources. As we move through the medieval period, we see a greater variety of metals and alloys being used. Bilon, an alloy of silver and a larger amount of a base metal like copper, became very common, especially during the time of the Delhi Sultanate. Bilon coins were a practical solution. They looked like silver, but contained less of the precious metal, allowing rulers to mint more coins and manage their economies, especially during times when silver was scarce. Lead and potin, an alloy of copper, tin and lead, were also used for low-value coinage in certain regions, particularly in the Deccan, by dynasties like the Satavahanas. This diversification of metals shows a growing sophistication in monetary management. The material of a coin can also tell a story of debasement and economic crisis. Throughout history, when empires faced financial trouble, they often resorted to reducing the precious metal content of their coins. A dynasty's coins might start out as pure silver, but over generations, they could become mostly copper with just a thin silver wash. By analyzing the metallic composition of coins, numismatists can trace the economic fortunes of a kingdom, identifying periods of prosperity, stability, or decline. From the pure silver of the first punch-marked coins to the glorious gold of the Guptas and the pragmatic Bilon of the Sultans, the metals of Indian coins are a fundamental part of their historical narrative. The arrival of Islamic rule, beginning with the Delhi Sultanate in the 13th century, heralded a dramatic change in the design and philosophy of Indian coinage. The pictorial and portrait-based traditions of earlier Hindu and Buddhist kingdoms were replaced by a new aesthetic centered on calligraphy. In accordance with Islamic tradition, which generally discourages the depiction of living beings, the coins of the sultans were covered in elegant inscriptions. These were typically written in Arabic or Persian script and featured the ruler's name and titles, the date of minting in the Hijri calendar, and religious phrases, such as the kalima, the basic statement of Islamic faith. This shift marked a fundamental change in the coin's function from a visual portrait to a textual declaration of authority and faith. The coins of the Delhi Sultanate are fascinating for their variety and the historical information they contain. Rulers like Alauddin Khilji and Muhammad bin Tughlaq issued a vast range of coins in gold, silver, billion, and copper from mints located all across their sprawling empire. Muhammad bin Tughlaq is particularly famous in numismatic history for his controversial token currency experiment. He introduced bronze and copper coins that were decreed to have the same value as gold and silver coins. The experiment was a spectacular failure, as it led to widespread counterfeiting and economic chaos. But the surviving tokens are now prized by collectors as relics of a bold and ill-fated monetary policy. The establishment of the Mughal Empire in the 16th century brought a new level of refinement and artistry to Indian coinage. The Mughals, great patrons of art and architecture, applied their sophisticated aesthetic sense to their currency. The standard gold coin, the mohur, and silver coin, the rupee, became highly standardized in weight and purity, a system that would have a lasting impact on the subcontinent's economy. The early Mughal emperors like Babur and Humayun continued the calligraphic tradition, but under Akbar the Great, the designs became more decorative and innovative. He introduced coins with beautiful floral patterns, intricate borders, and even some pictorial designs, such as a famous and rare issue showing a hawk. The artistic peak of Mughal coinage was arguably reached under Emperor Jahangir. A great connoisseur of art, Jahangir broke with orthodox tradition and issued a series of stunning and highly controversial coins. The most famous of these are his zodiac coins, where each of the 12 signs of the zodiac was depicted on a series of gold mohurs. He also issued remarkable portrait coins that showed him seated on a throne, holding a goblet of wine, a radical departure from Islamic norms. These coins are masterpieces of numismatic art, incredibly rare and sought after. The coins of Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb largely return to the purely calligraphic style, but with an elegance and precision that reflected the mature phase of Mughal power. The gradual expansion of British influence in India, starting from the 17th century, brought yet another major transformation to the subcontinent's currency. Initially, the British East India Company issued coins that mimicked the local styles of the regions they controlled, often in the name of the Mughal emperor to ensure their acceptance. These early coins, minted in their trading posts of Bombay, Madras and Calcutta, were a hybrid of Indian and European traditions. However, as British power grew and the Mughal Empire weakened, the nature of the coinage began to change, reflecting the shifting political reality. The coins started to bear the company's coat of arms and name, signaling a new authority on the rise. The year 1858 marked a pivotal moment. Following the Indian Rebellion of 1857, the rule of the East India Company was transferred directly to the British Crown, and Queen Victoria was declared the Empress of India. This political change was immediately stamped onto the currency. The coins of British India now featured a uniform design across the entire territory under their control. For the first time, the portrait of a British monarch, starting with Queen Victoria, appeared on India's coins. This was a powerful statement of colonial rule, replacing the names of Mughal emperors with the face of a distant sovereign. The other side of the coins typically stated the value and the year, surrounded by an ornate floral wreath. The coins of the British Raj went through several stages, reflecting the changing monarchs in Britain. After Queen Victoria, the coins featured the portraits of King Edward VII, King George V, and King George VI. These portraits were a consistent and powerful symbol of British imperial authority, circulating in every corner of the subcontinent. The metals and denominations were also standardized, with the silver rupee, weighing 1 tola, about 11.66 grams, as the cornerstone of the monetary system, supplemented by smaller denomination coins in silver, copper, and later, nickel. This uniform currency played a crucial role in integrating the Indian economy into the larger British imperial system. An interesting episode during this period occurred during World War II. Due to a shortage of silver, the British Indian government had to change the composition of its rupee coins. In 1940, the silver content was reduced from 91.7% to 50%, and by 1946, the silver rupee was replaced entirely with a nickel version. This debasement was a practical necessity of the war effort, but it also symbolized the declining fortunes of the British Empire. The final series of coins under British rule were minted in 1947, the year of India's independence. These coins, bearing the image of King George VI, were the last to feature a British monarch, closing a significant chapter in India's long numismatic history. Beyond the grand sweep of imperial coinages, the history of Indian numismatics is filled with fascinating oddities, rare treasures, and coins that tell unique stories. These curiosities often provide a more personal and unusual glimpse into the past. For instance, some of the most intriguing coins are those that carry bilingual or even trilingual inscriptions. The coins of the Satavahana dynasty in the Deccan, for example, sometimes featured inscriptions in both Prakrit, using the Brahmi script, and a Dravidian language, using a different script, reflecting the linguistic diversity of their kingdom. These coins are invaluable for linguists studying the evolution of ancient Indian languages. Another area of great interest is the coinage of regional kingdoms and smaller states, which often display unique and charming designs. The coins of the Western Kshatrapas, who ruled in Western India for centuries, are notable for their crude but distinct silver portraits and for including the date of issue in the Shaka era, providing a precise chronological framework for historians. In the south, the tiny gold phanams of the Vijayanagara Empire and other dynasties are marvels of miniature art, often depicting deities like Balaji or animal symbols like the boar. These small but significant issues show that numismatic creativity was not confined to the great empires, but flourished in every corner of the subcontinent. Perhaps the most famous and sought-after rarities in all of Indian numismatics are the zodiac mohurs and portrait coins of the Mughal Emperor Jahangir. As mentioned earlier, his decision to defy orthodox tradition and place his own image and the signs of the zodiac on his gold coins was an act of extraordinary artistic and political confidence. These coins were likely not intended for general circulation, but as special presentation pieces for high-ranking nobles in his court. Their rarity, combined with their stunning beauty and the story of the art-loving emperor behind them, makes them the holy grail for collectors of Indian coins, with single pieces fetching astronomical prices at auctions. Other rare coins tell stories of political upheaval or short-lived reigns. For instance, coins minted by usurpers or rulers who held power for only a few months are incredibly scarce and highly prized. There are also coins that were counterstruck, where a new ruler would take the coins of a previous king and stamp his own symbol over them, a powerful and economical way of asserting new authority. Each of these unique pieces adds a rich layer of detail to our understanding of Indian history. They remind us that history is not just a story of long dynasties, but is also made up of countless smaller, more personal, and often more surprising narratives. With India's independence in 1947, its coinage entered a new era, one that sought to define the identity of a modern, sovereign nation. The portrait of the British monarch was replaced by a powerful new symbol, the Ashoka lion capital, a sculpture of 4 lions standing back to back, which was adopted as the national emblem of India. This emblem, featured on nearly all coins of the Republic of India, symbolizes courage, confidence, and the nation's ancient Buddhist heritage of peace and righteousness. The reverse side of the coins continued to show the denomination, but the floral wreath of the British era was replaced with 2 ears of corn, symbolizing the country's agricultural base and prosperity. The journey of modern Indian currency has seen several changes in materials and denominations. The initial series of coins after independence continued the old British weights and some of the metals. However, in 1957, India shifted to a decimal system, where 1 rupee was divided into 100 nai paise, or new pies. The prefix nai was dropped in 1964, and the coins were simply called paisa. Over the decades, due to inflation and the rising cost of metals, the composition of the coins has changed significantly. The lower denomination coins, once made of bronze or copper nickel, are now mostly made of stainless steel, while the 1 and 2 rupee coins have also transitioned from copper nickel to steel. In recent years, the Reserve Bank of India has also issued a fascinating array of commemorative coins to mark important events, anniversaries, and to honor national heroes. These coins celebrate figures like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Subhas Chandra Bose, as well as significant milestones like the anniversary of the Indian Railways or the Commonwealth Games. These commemorative issues serve as a modern form of storytelling, using currency to educate the public and foster a sense of national pride. They have become a popular entry point for new collectors, offering an accessible and meaningful way to engage with India's ongoing history. The introduction of bimetallic coins, like the 10 rupee coin, has also added a modern touch to the nation's currency. The global fascination with Indian coins, from the ancient punch-marked pieces to the modern commemorative issues, continues to grow stronger. For collectors, each coin is a miniature work of art and a tangible piece of history. For historians, they are indispensable primary sources that unlock the economic, political, and cultural secrets of the past. The immense diversity, artistic beauty, and sheer historical depth of Indian coinage make it one of the most rewarding fields of numismatics. The journey of the Indian coin is, in essence, the journey of India itself, a story of adaptation, innovation, and resilience, stamped in metal and passed down through the ages, continuing to tell its incredible tale to the world.